and that will naturally start to bring relaxation to the emotion and really ultimately the part inside. And I see Randy has her hand up. So let me do this. Okay, so Randy, if you can just unmute yourself. Yeah, there you go.
I just did. Thank you. So sorry I'm not on video. I'm in a camper camping, and we are not camera ready. But I want to say first of all that, you know, I have heard a lot of what you have said in previous previous conversations, and I just want to say that the way that you described this today, for me, it landed so squarely. But between the visual on the board that you were writing on and the words that you were saying, I literally had my eyes closed, and I was able to feel and be in a trigger, and I was saying the triggers out loud that I had. And then when you further said that, you know, when you get to what you think is the trigger, it's not always that, and there are more layers underneath. So I'm sitting here with my boyfriend, and you know, he's doing a whole lot of head shaking because it's resonating with him also. So I don't necessarily have a question other than, okay, what's next, right? Like that's my question, because you've whet our appetites to, we know that we have the triggers. We know that they happen just as fast as your triggers happen, right? You know, you think you're the only one because you had 50 triggers that they happen in 2.5 seconds. I might have only had half a dozen triggers, but they come just as fast and furious. And, you know, I love the idea of the pause. And, you know, one of the things that I recently learned was an acronym called WAIT, WAIT. And it's an Al-Anon acronym. And it stands for, why am I talking?
Mm-hmm.
And you can also say that it stands for, why am I thinking? Why am I thinking that I'm back to when I'm 7 years old and this bad experience happened to me? Why am I thinking that? And I think that it could almost get you out of the trigger to say, wait, like, is this real? And I know that that's something that you kind of, you know, preach and talk about. So I just want to say, for me, it has really come full circle. Everything that I heard you say, that I heard you write, is now very crystallized for me. And I feel equipped to deal with my triggers in a more timely fashion and be able to get out of it quicker because of what you shared this morning. So thank you very much. This was time well spent with you this morning.
Thank you, Randy. I really appreciate all those points that you make. And especially, I want to call out something even more. The goal isn't to shut the trigger down.
Right.
Though that is the natural process that will happen. I have 98% less triggers after doing this work. And I had a lot of triggers. I had to control my environment pretty tight because I had a lot of spirals. But acknowledging the trigger is halfway. The WAIT is awesome. I love that. And we actually, Dick Schwartz, teaching IFS process, uses WAIT as therapist. Why am I talking rather than having my client talk? It's perfect timing to then circle that attention back inside, like you're saying, like acknowledging the emotion or the part underneath the trigger. But why am I acting like this? Is from when I was 7 years old. Does this apply today? Why am I really watch. My antenna goes up with any kind of bypassing or suppressing. That's what caused the problem in the first place. I about 10 years of spiritual bypassing with my triggers. It doesn't work. I just know hands-on experience does not work. It just suppresses even more. So we want to get in touch with that part, even from 7 years old. Yeah, it like somebody has on the chat, I'm bad. That thinking that's the story. I'm bad. And that so often is the story in many, many, many of us. So know that you're not alone. That story needs to be acknowledged and held and appreciated and loved before it can be released.
Yeah, and
These
what
triggers
you're
are here
what
because
you're
they
saying,
just need to be processed.
yeah, I'm sorry, what you're saying right now, you know, I only mastered half of it, right? So like I recognize that the trigger is there and I'm able to stop a runaway train, but if I continue, then what's going to happen is I'm not fully releasing it and it's going to keep coming back and haunting me until such time that I
Right. You might have cut out, Randy, but you're absolutely
don't have to repeat myself. I just convinced myself that I really get it. I thought I got it before I get it.
yeah, it needs to be processed and released, which can only happen through love, through acceptance. So it's okay that there's a part of us that feels like it's still 7 years old and it's stuck in the past. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Come, tell me, sit on my lap and show and tell. I call it show and tell with the parts. Show me what happened. Tell me what you went through. What did you experience? What do you want me to know? And then when it's fully witnessed, we call it witnessing in IFS. When it's fully witnessed, it'll be like, okay, I don't need this anymore. I'll release it. And it's literally that simple. Not easy, but it's simple.
I love that, Christine. Thank you for, you know, putting a bow on it, because I think what I said when I cut out was I got the first part, but I didn't get the second part, that it's not identifying it and recognizing it, that it is not happening in the here and now is part one, but part two is feeling the feeling, feeling the emotion, sending love to that part or that experience or that trigger, and then finally being able to, you know, reparent yourself to finally be free of that.
Mhm.
Did I get that?
Exactly. Exactly. It is basically reparenting these parts of us by fulfilling the need that was unmet for each part. And each part will have a different need that was not met. Even by well-intentioned parents or teachers, there could be, you know, peers, trauma that happened with peers. There can be, you know, preschool teachers, high school teachers, ex-spouses, toxic relationships. So core wounds can be formed even later in life. And here's something that just fascinates me because it showed up in my life so often. The core wound of each part that's not being acknowledged will keep bringing up situations in life over and over and over again to get our attention of the core wound. I'm living proof of that. And I'll tell more about that in the online program. I get kind of vulnerable in the online program and tell my stuff. I am perfectly imperfect, imperfectly perfect. And none of us are on this journey alone. We're all here to help each other. And we all have our roles that we play and our contributions that we make. Is there anyone else that has a question?
I have another question. I was looking through your online magazine and the workbook that goes along with this work, and I wasn't quite sure what the universe to-do list was, your daily checklist. Could you explain that?
Yeah, that's something I've not heard of that anywhere else. I kind of just made it up, that the more work that I did internally with my subconscious, with the different parts in my subconscious, the parts take on a major belief. This is what forms a survival strategy in the first place. The part is disconnected from the whole, so it believes that it has to do the job itself. It has to do everything itself. It carries the burden on its shoulders to handle it itself because it doesn't have that connection yet anymore with core essence. And then core essence is connected with a bigger whole, collective consciousness, source, God, whatever you want to call it. And the parts actually block, cause resistance between our connection to all that is and itself. So the part believes that it's separate, that it's alone. So as the parts began to heal in my inner system, in my subconscious, the parts started realizing, oh, wait, we have help with this. We have self-energy, core essence, but we also have collaborative components that can be sent to us through the universal, all that is nature, whatever you want to call it. So I started just doing my field research and writing down things like send me a landscaper, show me the right bank account, send me an opportunity to market with ease. And it would just pop up, because there was no part there causing resistance. And that's where we get into true creation of life through deliberate intention and manifesting. Everything already is. Our only task is to remove any blocks. And it's just the parts thinking they have to do it all themselves that are blocking through survival strategies. Really good question. It's really fun. Play with it. Anything you need, even research on Google, whatever. Anything that you want to research, just say, bring it to me. And it'll show up if there's not a block. If there is a block and it doesn't show up, awesome, because you can use that as a trailhead. Use your workbook with that. I'm requesting a landscaper and none is showing up within a week. So great question. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to end the recording here for the workbook and do another section on explaining the program. So anyone is free to leave that doesn't want to know about the program that I'm creating. And if you're interested, please stay.